Sean Thatcher, Fab That Inc., Thatcher Fabrication. So I'm gonna do a part 2 of this video, and gonna finish rebuilding this. I'm gonna call it. It's called Ol Mack. That's the very first smoker I ever built. Something else I'm gonna use as part of this build, and I just kind of thought about this over the weekend. So if I would have finished it last weekend, I probably wouldn't have thought of this. So this thing right here is the very first smoker I ever built. These are the handles. Very first smoker I ever built. Probably, actually, I don't even remember when I built it, to be honest with you. And then Ol Mack is, but that over there is a vertical smoker. You build a fire underneath it, and you just got 2 stacks on it, 2 grill plates on it, and you can smoke from that. It's really a direct fire, I guess, technically. But that's what I learned. That's what I learned kind of how to control it, things like that. And then I built this smoker, this part of the smoker. I built this smoker for Ol Mack, and I call it Ol Mack because of Ol Mack. And I built that smoker because a buddy of mine wanted me to cook a hog for him, and I didn't have a smoker big enough to cook a hog. And kind of how all this shit started. So with that being said, I mean, as cool as that would be, to keep that thing around, because it's history, my history, and my, thing of how I started in the barbecue world. It doesn't cook good. It never really cooked good. I didn't know what I was doing when I built it. And yeah, so what I'm going to do with that, I've got I'm going to use that thing, and I'm going to incorporate it into this build. So I got both my first and second smokers that I ever built kind of together. And I'm never getting rid of this thing. I'm never getting rid of it. It's part of my, I'll have it till they'll put me in it, by God, and put me in the ground with it, or have it there with me cooking a brisket on it. Somebody cooking a brisket on it for me as they throw dirt over my eyes. So it's never going anywhere. I say the trailer might change over the years. This is actually the 3rd or 4th trailer that smoker's been on. This is the 4th trailer that smoker's been on. And like I say, it's not in great shape. It's got a couple of cracks in it I'm going to have to fix. The suspension sucks on it. But that old smoker and that old thing over there is what I learned on. And I ain't ever getting rid of it. So I'm thinking about putting them together. I hadn't thought about that. I actually had a piece I was going to use for what I'm going to use that for already kind of laid out. So I'm going to do something a little different. And we'll go from there. So I'll keep y'all posted as I'm doing this. This is part 2 of, I'm going to call it the $1 million smoker. Not that it's worth $1 million or it cost $1 million, but I've made $1 million with it. If anybody knows in the restaurant business, you can make $1 million and you ain't got 5 cents to rub together. But it's just what I'm calling it. I mean, I literally have cooked food on this thing now professionally for a living to feed my family. See, there I am right up on my face again. I've done this now opened the first restaurant in 2017, so it was 8 years, 9 years, give or take. And I was cooking on it before that, catering. But so it's just part of my life. So I'm keeping it, and I'm rebuilding it now. I think this one will be probably the best version that it's ever been. Like I say, I'm calling it the $1 million smoker, and we're gonna fix it up here, and hopefully this will be like this for another 10 years, and then we'll figure out what something new for it is next time. I don't know, but maybe we'll one of these days when maybe we'll have it sandblasted and painted, and It'll just be something that we retire out and sit out in front of the business and let it be a advertisement or something. Hell, I don't know. But right now, I've got to have it in about 2 weeks. That's when business starts kicking down at the gorge. About 2 weeks, I got to have this thing back down there, have it loaded down with briskets, because it is a very essential part of my business. And it is going to be an essential part of my business, but I also have to relearn to cook on it. So I really want to get it done this weekend. I want to get it done. And when I say weekend, I say Monday, Tuesday, and part of the day Wednesday, because those are the days that we're not open at the restaurant. And I had obligations all day Monday. It is midday on Tuesday right now. I have an obligation later this evening, and I have to go down. I have a family obligation tomorrow evening with my family tomorrow evening, so I won't only be here till about 4 o'clock tomorrow, 5 o'clock tomorrow, and I got to go straight back to the restaurant and start cooking. So I don't think I'm going to be able to get it done, but I need to get it done. So I might have a late night out here tonight getting this thing, try to at least get it to where all I got to do tomorrow is weld, just do welding all day. So that's what my hope is. Hope I can get everything designed out, cut out, tacked together, put where I want it at, and we'll go from there with it. So thanks for hanging around watching part 2 of this. Like I say, as always, enjoy a good cigar while I do this. This is a Jamie Garcia successor. And there again, I don't speak Spanish, and I'm not going to try to, but you all can see right there. But this is a My Father cigar. But I actually think this was a gift to me, if I'm not mistaken. This was a gift to me from a guy that owns Schwab's cigars, Schwab's, I'm sorry, SCHWABS, Schwab's cigars and pipe. They sell pipe tobacco and cigars. And this was his gift to me. I was down there on my birthday and told him it was my birthday, just in conversation that we were having. And he gifted me this cigar, so I'm smoking it today. Got the Hound out here with me, and we're going to get after it. So thank y'all for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. And thank you to all 100. I think I've got up to 109 or 110 subscribers as of today. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hopefully, I'm not doing this for money. I'm not doing it for advertisers. I'm not doing it for a living. I'm not doing it for any of that stuff. I'm doing it I'm doing it for me. Because hell, maybe one of these days, somebody that I love will want to look me up and or somebody that thinks about me will want to look me up and say, hey, I remember that dude when he was doing that stuff, or I've been to his restaurant. I'm doing it for people to kind of just see what the life of an old a hillbilly from eastern Kentucky. Maybe my grandkids will want to watch this one of these days, if I ever have any great grandkids, and if the world keeps going, and we'll figure it out. So thank y'all for watching, and we'll get back to, we'll start making. I got to move the 50 out of here, and side by side out of here. And also, I think I hit on it a couple videos ago. We had some storm. This building has a whole other section on that side of the wall right there. It's not as big as this part, but it's about half this big on that side over there. And we had some storm damage on that side, and I was going to make like a place to put memorabilia and like a smoking room, things like that. Maybe a little, a little gym if you can. I need to start working out a little bit. Maybe put a little small gym over there, something to, just a little private place that we don't have enough room for in the house. And but we got to put a new roof on this thing, and we got to do some other, because we had some major wind and snow damage and different things, and water damage over there from a storm we had. And we're going to probably, all these walls you see here, except for that last one down there, last section down there, we're going to take all this stuff out. So it's gonna be one big open room. So right now, I'm kind of hand tied in here a little bit because I've got all my, you see me move it and that other stuff. All my tools are piled up on this side of the garage. Everything, like everything's piled up on this side of the garage. The only thing I got over here is shit that I can move easy with the forklift. And so we're getting, hopefully here in the next week or two, or hell, next month. I don't even know really. Couldn't tell you. I haven't got the go ahead on when they're going to be here to start doing it. But we got to tear all this out. New roof, new insulation, new wiring, new all kinds of shit. So that's not something I was expecting to have to do. But that's what we're got to do. So let's get after it. Do a cold start on the old forklift again. Let's see. I tell you what. It's a good one. That's a damn good old forklift. I've had it now, I guess, what, 3-4 weeks? It's a good one. All right, so for cold start and stuff, let's try out this old 50 here. Oh. It's a 50 Ford. An old buddy of mine named Frank Hickey used to own it. Actually, he was a buddy of my dad's, and just a good old dude. Smoked cigars every day. He had that one in his mouth all the time. I've known him since I was a little kid. He's passed away now. Key on. Now this has still got the original flathead in it. I need to get the headliner cleaned on. Original flathead in it. Original carburetor. I did put a new factory original style fuel pump in it, but the fuel pressure is built. The fuel pump is pressurized by a shaft that runs on the cam. Y'all, a few videos back, you saw me trying to muck with it a little bit. Well, that gets wore. Well, I put a new shaft in it, but the actual cam lobe is wore, and it doesn't let it build up real good pressure. So what I did is I put a little electric fuel pump in it just to prime it. Once you prime it, so listen, you hear it come on. Listen, hear it get quiet. That means it's filled the bowls, filled up the carburetor. You can barely hear it running now. Now I shut it off. Now the only time I use that electric fuel pump is when I'm starting it. Like right off the bat when you start. If you're driving down the highway, the thing runs like a jewel. For whatever reason, it just doesn't like. Let's see what it does. Here we go. Push button start. Push button start right there. Let's give it a couple pumps. 1, 2, hell, 3 for good measure. Can't beat old flathead. No, they cold natured, but you can't beat it. Let's see what it does. That's a no choke. That's a no choke on. Choke's right here. I had the choke put. Choke was not on. No choke, and it's about 55 degrees out today. Still 3-speed. 3 speed on the collar. Little hound there, he don't know what to do with himself. Park over here in Mama's parking spot. She'll get mad, but that's all right. So, yeah. Hopefully when I get the little renovation fix done on the, yeah. Let's see if it fires back up. See, no choke. See, the choke pulls out like this. Let's see. Damn good old car. Damn good old car. So if you watch some other videos that I made about this car when I was tinkering with it a little bit, we had to do some things to it to get it to. So I'm still going to update it. That's why I'm not been driving it. I'm wanting to put the new fuel system on it. It vapor locks when you're for whatever reason. It vapor locks a little bit. I think it's because the fuel's not moving fast enough through the lines, even when you're out driving it, when it's at operating temperature. I think that's what's happening to it, but hell, I don't know. We'll figure that out and cross that bridge when we get there. But I've named that old car Old Frank, because of the old guy bought it from his family after he passed away. And actually, my brother-in-law, Crystal's brother, is married to Frank's granddaughter. So, keep it in the family, kind of. But I love that car. One of these days, after I get that thing built, I got another one outside that I want to build first. Get my skills kind of back to where they need to be. Then I'll work on that car, or at least start working on customizing it. So, get this Polaris backed out of here, and hopefully one of these days I don't have to play musical vehicles to work in the shop. But it is what it is. The hound's got to learn to get out of the way, which he did. You don't know what to do with this stuff. Yeah. Get this stuff over out of the way, and so I can get to work. All right, guys, so I'm going to try to show this a little more detail about how I do some of this stuff. But so these are the old hinges that were on here, and they worked. Let's see where they're at. So say there was on the door, these went in here and here, and these were welded. I don't know if these are the same two that came off of this particular side, but they were on here, and this is how the door hinged up and down. You know, they moved together like this. It's basically just a piano hinge, basically, is all it amounts to. But I got to cut those off to make room. So here again, I know it looks like a new piece of metal, but I got it out of the dent pile because it had that dent right there in it. I haven't got it, no problem. That's where I bought it at, is their problem. But it's going to sit right here like this, and it's not long enough, as you can see. So here's a piece I grabbed out of the scrap pile, and it's got a little where I was making something at some point in time in my life. So it's bent. I put it in a bender and bent it, and that's how what I had to use of it was that cut right there. So this is I'm gonna weld that. I might even actually line the line back up on it. I'm gonna weld that right there together. That give me the right length, and then I can cut the length down here that I need. So that's how I'm gonna do it, and got to get those pieces cut off, and I'll put another piece of 1 inch down here on this, all the way down. I'm gonna get it welded in place, and I'm gonna come out to the edge of this and down, plate this in, put a piece of angle, which I didn't buy, but I bought at some point. It's here on the shelf. It's like a piece of 1.5 inches. You can see it's been here a long time, I'll just say that. So I'm gonna say free 99. It's a piece of 1.5 inch angle, and I'll put that across here, and then I'll sheet the top of it with that 11 gauge right over there that I don't really even know why that's here. I don't know whose it is, what it's for. It says 11 gauge, 48 by 120. I have no idea where it came from. It was actually behind I had this over on this side of the wall. You couldn't really, the way I had it set up, you couldn't even get back there to it. I didn't know it was back there. I don't know where it came from. So again, free 99. And then we'll piece the rest of it together. But I'm gonna make doors that open. So this will be squared off. This will be squared off. I'm gonna make doors that open out to me, like barn door style doors on it. So not a lift up, lift up style like most smokers are. And how this one always has been. It's always been a lift up style door. I'll make this one where it opens out. Because look, like look at this dent. Look at this big dent right here. This was here from when I dug it out of the hillside. That big dent there. I was noticing one over here when I was putting the brackets in. Like this thing, like look at that big ass dent right there. See that? I don't know if it picks it up on camera, but it's a huge dent. Like this thing is not a, so I literally took a shovel and a pick and dug this thing out of the back of my shop back here. It was in the hillside, and it used to keep waste oil, like oil out of pickup trucks or diesel trucks. It used to keep waste oil in it. So we say oil around here, but I've been told that it's pronounced oil, so it is what it is. But I'm gonna get after it, set this camera up here, and start cutting on some of this stuff. When I make a little progress, we're gonna talk about it some more. I'm not sure how good this is going to show up, but something I've never seen on YouTube, or anybody on YouTube, but anybody explain how versatile these, like a torch and stuff is. But like there's a technique called, I was taught, called sweating. So you take if you say you got two pieces of metal that are layered together, and you're trying to cut something off, which is the case here. Where that old piece of that tube was here. I need to get on that, because if you take a grinder to that, you're going to be on that for hours and hours on that thing. So what I'm going to try to do, if it'll show it, and I don't know if it'll show it very well, but you can take a torch, and you got to be very easy with it. So these are two different pieces of metal here. So what you can do, and you work you just sweat that metal off there. With the top piece, not trying to go all the way, not trying to blow through, the bottom piece. And I don't know if it'll show you. Let me try to do this one-handed. I'll try. Say, I'm not very good at this, but I don't know if you can see it or not, but I'm going to try to film it and do it one-handed. So you're not trying to blow through both pieces of metal. You're just trying to get that top piece. You can see it disappear. I say, there may be somebody on here that's done this and show people how to do it. There again, I'm rusty at it. You just want to barely work your oxygen. This will save you a shit ton of grinding, shit ton of time. I said, it ain't for everything, I'm gonna lift my phone up, but it ain't for every process, but for this in particular process, it works. I say, I don't even know if I'd even got the damn camera in the right spot. I'm just trying to watch what I'm doing. But you just barely get the metal molten and a very little bit of oxygen. And you just work that metal right off of there, that old metal, and you leave the bottom section, because that would take an hour to grind all that off. And there, this is just a couple minutes and I'm almost done with it. I say, there's a tool for every job. much better. How much less grinding that's going to be as compared to trying to grind all that. All right, now that don't work for every process. Like if it was a real pristine piece of metal, or I do it on, I used to do it when you're taking, if you're putting a 4-link or a bag or bag brackets and things on the trucks, and you got to pull the axle out and clear all the old factory tabs off the axles. I use that process right there to get the tabs off the axle and not spend 3 hours with a grinder. I do that, and it takes, what'd that take me that first one there? 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes. So 10 minutes, you got this. I've done what I needed to do, and it would have literally taken a half an hour or longer with a grinder to get that stuff off of there. So that's just one little process, little redneck thing. I don't know if it's a mainstream thing. I've never heard. I watch a lot of people do a lot of videos, and I've never seen nobody do that. So I figured while I was doing it, let you guys see what I was doing. So, all right, let's get to the next thing, guys. I'm gonna try my best to show you this. Now, there's probably 1,000 ways to do this by people that are way smarter than me and are way more skilled fabricators than me. I'm still like, I don't even consider myself a fabricator at the moment because I don't think my skills are up to where they used to be. So anyways, relevant. So how I think, so when there's something that you can't really get a great measurement of, like I wouldn't know how to, because I'm squaring this out. So you know what I'm saying? So I'm getting ready to cut all this out anyways, but I need to get this piece and this piece where it needs to be and get them squared up, get this top piece made. Hello, whoever that was. And so I got this piece run all the way down, got it clamped in place here down at the end. It's not like squeezed tight, it's just enough to hold it in place for me. So I got it here where I want it. And I got the bottom piece down here. Same piece goes all the way down. It's clamped across the front here and down there, just lightly. It's permanent. It's where it needs to be, but it's not welded in place or anything. So it's the same distance here to here. Let me get that camera set back where it was. So what I did, have a little angle cube. It's from a company called Eye Gauging. So triple mag. It's got a magnet on that side, magnet on that side, and on that side, not on the top of it. So what I did, I've already got them cut because I already figured out what to do, but I was just trying to show you guys how to do this. So I cut this maybe a ½ inch longer than, like I just eyeballed it. Like I held it up here, held 2 longer pieces up here and kind of eyeballed where they needed to be. And do the same with this one. Okay. So then I got them cut to where I thought they needed to be, pretty close. Like I say, now there's probably a way mathematically or some kind of a tool that you can use to figure this out. There's, I don't know if you can see the gauge or not. That is 0 degrees, that is dead flat. I don't know if you can see that, but there it is, dead flat 0, okay? And I've already went through this and made sure it was right, but I'm just saying there's an easy way to do this. You can find your piece, get your piece, kind of eyeball where you think it might need to be. I think I cut it about a ½ inch long out here. And I took another piece, cut it about this, where I thought it was about a ½ inch long, just eyeball. And I put it up here. And you take, so once you get this set where it needs to be, you mark it. You would do this with it, mark either front or behind. Say wherever that lands at 0 degrees, well, you'd mark this piece, mark the bottom piece. So now when you cut that piece, that's at 0. That's level, okay? And then you take it and you turn it 90 degrees and you put this wherever it needs to be this way to make it 90 degrees to that piece. Set it back where I had it at. It's right there. That's 90 degrees to where from where that piece is. So that's a square corner. Okay. Now that's how I do it. That's how I've kind of always done it. It's just by, I don't do a bunch of math and try to figure out, you know, beforehand how it is. I build it on the piece. So that's what we're going to do. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make 2 more of these exactly the same for that end, because it should be the same. It needs to be the same, I'll say that. And then I'm going to pull this piece and this piece off, build this corner structure on the floor where I can get everything, or maybe even clear off the frame table back here a little bit, where I can build this, clamp everything down, build it where this is all one piece, and I set this piece back on here. Then once I do that, I can cut this all out. I can weld it to the table. And let me show you something else that's going to give me fits here in a minute. Let me write which one of these to switch first. Hold on, let me get a piece of soapstone. So this one is top, and we'll call this front, and this is outside, outside, front. And when I make the back ones, I'll do top rear and outside rear on it. So that way we know what's what. But I'm gonna double check them down there just to make sure they're gonna be the same on that end. So I'm pretty sure they are. And well, hell, I'll just take you with me. Let's do it right now. Let's see what this, I didn't bring the gauge, hold on. Or the thing. Here we go. This is probably gonna be a little bit off, but let's see how close we are. Let's see. Okay, so that one is at 1.45. So see, so that's, let's see, 1.4. Let's see where we need to be. Let's see, let me see if I can set this somewhere. You can see what I'm doing. So what I gotta do with this is I gotta get this to come down. So what I would do is I'd come down. Whenever I get this piece cut, I would mark it down. I would mark this piece here. Get it back to 0 again. Hold on. Get it back to 0. And wherever it needs to be, 30. Let's see. Right there. Right there, 0. So I would mark this, cut that piece off. Even if it's 3 inches higher, get that set at 0. That means this piece is level, and then this piece, cut that off, and then that'll bring this down to where it's level. And then once that's done, you bring that out. That's at 87 degrees right now. 89. Now let's see. Hold on. 89.9. Let's see if I can get here right at it. 9.6. 89.9. And there's 90. So you see how much this is off right here? So it's only off like a ½ inch. So you'd cut that much right there off of this, off the end of this top piece, and it would make it a square corner. So I hope that kind of explains how I did that. And there again, it's an easy way to figure out something that's hard to get a measurement on, just kind of by eyeballing it. So that's how I do it. guys, I think I'm gonna call it a night. I'm gonna wash the old bald head. But if anybody couldn't kind of tell what I was talking about, what I was gonna accomplish, or what I was going for here, is I didn't get near as much done today as I was hoping to, but that's kind of what since I want to have doors that open up this way. So that's kind of what I was going for. Got to put a piece of that, let's see, where am I going? That plate right there on this, and I'll make a side piece, covers all this in, and I'll make a door. It's going to be a big door. It's going to be 2 doors. It's actually bigger than I was kind of, after looking at it together, like it's going to be a big door. So that's all right. I needed the room in this thing. I'm pretty happy with it. Like I say, if I was doing this with all new metal, all new stuff, you'd go about this a little differently. And my head's a shining, ain't it? Here, let's do this. You don't get to see that. You'd go about this an entirely different way. I also went ahead and cut the stack off, and I'm going to make a collector here, and a big stack out the top of it right here. So I'll make it flow and breathe a lot better now that it's got a good size, legit good size firebox on it. Like I say, that's kind of what I was shooting for there. I didn't get nowhere near, like I say, it's midnight, 12:30, maybe even closer to 1. I don't even know, I ain't looked, but that's somewhere around that time. And I'm gonna go in and get cleaned up, go to bed. But yeah, so I had to. So all this, see how dented this stuff is? Like, this is a legit piece of junk. Like, it really is, but it's my piece of junk. But I had to go in and clamp all that stuff together. Now there's still a little gap right there. But see, it's a patch on top of a patch, you know. So what are we talking about here, you know? So, but anyways, that's where I'm at on it. Hopefully tomorrow. I've only got whatever time I get out here tomorrow till I got to leave at 4:30 to go have dinner with my family, and then I got to go. When I come back from that, I got to go to the restaurant and start cooking. So I'm only going to have from whatever time I get out here tomorrow till about 4 o'clock to get some stuff done. Hopefully I can at least get this thing sheeted in. And I would like to have that thing there kind of figured out how I was going to, this collector, figure out how I'm going to, where that's going to live and how it's going to live, and maybe even get a couple pieces of it on there. Yeah, so, all right. We'll check back in with you guys in the morning. Hopefully nice and early, but you never know. That alarm clock might not go off in time, but we'll see how it goes. All right. Love you. See you in the morning. So it's the next day. I didn't get to, like I say, I didn't get as much done as I wanted to yesterday. This is kind of where we're at right at the moment. But I've got a couple other things in here that I do need to take care of, because I'm not going to get as much done on this thing as I'd like to this week. I'm going to tinker with it here a little bit, just get some stuff laid out. But that barbecue sign right over there, I need to get that ready to have a new cover, have a new stickers made for it. It got damaged in a storm down at the restaurant last year, and I never have fixed it. I need my sign back up on my for advertising purposes. I'll show you the damage on it here in a minute. So we're going to knock all that stuff back out, and I'm going to need some kind of little table in here to work off of, because I've got to start making doors and bending hinges, and I need a little work surface. So if y'all remember this from a couple videos back, that deal there, I'm gonna drag it out of here. I'll have to pick it up and pack it out of here, but because I've kind of got it hemmed up in here amongst all this stuff. And I'm going to work on getting that thing so I have some kind of little table surface to work on up here, so I can maybe weld some stuff to it so I can bend some things. Maybe put my vise on it, because I'm going to have to have that for yeah, all that kind of good stuff. So I still have to do this, have to cut the door out and clean all this stuff up, and there's still a lot to do. I was thinking about it last night. I was like, there's no way I'm going to get all this done that I want to get done today. I mean, even if I got out here at 6 a.m., there's just no way to get it all done. So I'm going to drag this thing out here, get the legs cut down, get me a vise on it, so if I need to heat up and bend some stuff, I can do that. And then I'm going to get that sign out here and do a little metal work on it, try to get it straightened back out so I can hang. I'm having a new sticker put on it, so on both sides of it. So all right, I'll set the camera up. We'll get to trying to do some stuff. And as always, this is a leftover from yesterday. I got busy and didn't finish it, but we're gonna finish it today. Yeah, man. So with this thing, I measured the feet on it. I never even thought to check it. Well, I had it sitting back there before I took it off that table there. But the legs are 5 3/4 inches, or the feet on that cart back there are 5 3/4 inches on this end, and 5 1/4 inches off the ground back there. So the cuts are going to be different. I figured they was the same, but they're not. So I'm gonna cut this off. This is at 38 inches. This is 38 inches. That's a good working height. That's kind of where I want to keep it at. So I got to cut 5 3/4 inches off this side, 5 1/4 inches off those back legs to make it sit level on that cart. This is something, like I said, I haven't used this thing 8 or 9 years. Here's something I saw this in as I was moving it around. It's an old tape measure. It's like just something, so if you don't want to pack this thing around, if you're just needing, this is a broke tape measure that broke off over the years from being used. It's a 2-foot piece. It broke there at 2 foot for some reason. And I just use it. I just leave it right in this hole right here. I forgot that I had it in there. It's been so long. It was sticking out as I was trying to move it around. It was sticking out. And like so. That's a little thing you can just have a little quick reference, because you're always looking for a tape measure. Tape measure, Sharpies, and 10 millimeter sockets and wrenches. You're always looking for that shit, so you can't ever find it. So it's a little, if you got a hole in your, got old junk tape measure and a hole in your working table, slide it right in there. All right, I'm gonna get to cutting these things and measuring these pieces. So I'm gonna cut 5 3/4 off this end, 5 1/4 off the back, and that should set it level on that cart. All right. All right, so let's get that little job done. And I was gonna point something out there while I was cutting this a minute ago, but I had it on time lapse and didn't do it. As you can see, I've been doing this junk, using whatever I've got on hand to just make shit happen. So 3 of these legs are the same size. I can show you. Let me show you. Here's the pieces. So apparently, when I was building this, now this was probably I built this in 2001-ish. But all 3 of the legs are this size, and one of them's that smaller size. So this is just something that I had laying around, and this is what I used to make it with. And but yeah, this shit ain't new, you know. I've been doing this shit, just kind of working with what I got for a long time. So like I say, you can see all the chips and dings and other old welds and hammer marks and different things where I've had different tools on this thing over the years. So what's it been, 23, 24 years I've had this old table, and now put it on this little rolly cart that was junk. It's absolute junk. It's fucking heavy. I don't think you could, I'll have to have a forklift to pick that sunbuck up. It is heavy. That thing probably weighs, that cart in there probably weighs 150 pounds by itself or better. I don't even know. I wouldn't know what it weighs. But yeah, so I may at some point build a little storage rack underneath this thing to maybe put something on it. Because I'm not real super happy with that little plasma table deal right there, or plasma cart that we got from Harbor Freight. Not that it's bad. It's just I have a tendency to pull it around by the front of it, and it likes to maybe fall over a little bit. So I might put that underneath this table and just use this as like a little welding. I can scooch it around to wherever it needs to be at. Yeah, we'll worry about that later on. So there's that project down for the day, and then I'm gonna go finagle that thing out of the corner over there and get it going. My little blade fell out of my Beverly shear while I was moving it around. Guess it was loose and I didn't know. But yeah, somebody go in there. I killed right there. Nope, that's not it. I'll get it figured out. But yeah, so we'll make some stuff with this Beverly shear one of these days. Show y'all how it it's just one of those things that every shop, every metal fabrication shop needs is a Beverly shear. Now this is from Bailey, but there's a lot of other companies that make them. Bailey's is this, actually has I just seen this tag on it. It's got a part number on it. Model MPS1. So I bought this or it was manufactured in 02, I guess. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that even means. Anyways. Yeah, let's get on this next little project. All right, guys. So I was going to just show you. I got this little Bailey back together. This little shear here back together. And I'll just kind of show you what it does. If anybody doesn't have one, it's just a piece of, I would assume that's a 16 gauge or something, give or take. But say you're trying to round the corners on something, or you're just cutting this. So you just slide her in here. Say you want to just barely, say you're working yourself up to your mark that you're trying to cut it at. You can actually cut this thing like super thin. I don't know how good it shows it where I got the camera at. So if you're really trying to sneak up on a line, you know, it's like you can take off little thin pieces, you know, and you can also do shapes with it. So you're running down this corner here, and you're trying to make a curve in it. Well, that's not a very good curve, but that's all right. You know, you can make curves and shapes, different stuff with it. So just figured I'd show you that in case you don't have one. Every shop needs to have one of these. They're not, I'm gonna say cheap. You know, a few $100s is expensive as far as I'm concerned. But I don't remember what I paid for this thing. I've had this a long time, probably, I don't even remember. But it also has, like, you can set your depth of how close these things are together, how close the teeth are together. And you tighten everything down. You know, see what I'm saying? How it adjusts in and out. That can adjust. And this thing needs cleaned. It needs cleaned, and it needs oiled good. Like I say, all this stuff is set in this garage all this time. I mean, it's all just set here. It's got a little surface rust on it. Everything does. Everything that's got metal, it's got a little surface rust on it. So I'm gonna get into that. I've got to get some other things done first, but I just want to show you that thing since I had it on this table here and mentioned it earlier. Go get you one of these. You can get the cheap ones from Harbor Freight. Like I say, I've never used one from Harbor Freight. I don't know how good they are, but this is a real good tool for doing sheet metal, little sheet metal pieces. I'm gonna show you this sign here. So this thing got damaged in a snowstorm. So what this is it's an aluminum sheet, but it's 2 pieces of aluminum caked in between, you know, some plastic in between it. So I actually didn't realize that till just now. I've never tried to work with something like this. This was you know, just an old sign somebody made. But this thing, during a windstorm, a bad windstorm we had down at Red River Gorge, I want to say last year, might have even been a year before that. I can't remember. I think it was last year though. I wouldn't let it sit around that long. Maybe I would. Yeah, probably would. But we came down to the restaurant to check, make sure we didn't have any damage, and the sign was gone. I said, well, hell, where's my damn sign? And we got to looking. It was across the parking lot, across the highway, over the guardrail, over in the creek. So it's probably 80 yards away from where it was, down in the creek. And it scratched it all up, dented it, did this damage here to it. You can see where it's done that. That's just from time. So it's, you know, I may not even worry about fixing this. I might just buy a new sheet, because I don't know if you can even work this stuff. And I'm sure you can, but let me reassess what I'm doing here. So I'm gonna back up and punt on this. This, like I say, when you try to wham on this or beat it or make it, see how that metal just tears. And I don't think there's no, I mean, I could try to straighten it up a little bit, but I don't, like I say, and it's wore out right here. I can get a new sign made. I called the guy. I can get a new sign made, new sticker, new printed everything with the same sign, or with the same kind of backing, for $300. So I'm just gonna do that. I mean, not that I ain't saying you can't fix this, but every time I was kind of pulling and pushing this, it just tears. See what it's doing right there? It just tears. So I'm gonna back up and punt this project. Let's get back on this old smoke. We'll just hang this up on the wall here somewhere for ambiance, you know, because hell, it's a cool old sign. Like I say, this needs a new home, I guess. I guess it's Tuesday of the next week. I'll be smoking a Ashton. It is a hell, I can't even read that. My eyes are too damn bad. Let's see. Whatever that says. Number 10. Maduro. Hell, I don't know. It's an Ashton. I've only smoked a couple of these. But we're making our way out to the shop. Hound's with me. Let's play musical cars here for a little bit. Move some stuff out of the shop so I can get back on this smoker. I gotta move the S10, the 50, the side-by-side. Get back there to that smoker right back there. Move it out here in the middle of the shop. But anyways. So I want to ask you guys a question. Does anybody know, anyone, here local, Jackson, Canton, hell-baitable, Essex County, whatever, that can edit videos and make thumbnails for YouTube videos. Like I say, I'm not trying to do this for money or for anything like that, but I'm somebody that likes things to be done correctly and done right to the best of my ability. And I like to do these videos to the best of my ability. And I like to find somebody that has an ability to do this stuff and can help me do this. Obviously, it's paid to do it. I ain't asking nobody to do nothing for free. But also, I'm doing these videos. I'm not making money on them, not doing anything like that. I think we got like I say, we're like 110 followers. And you gotta have, I think you gotta have 3,000 to 5,000 followers plus so many watch hours and so many views and things like that before you're, so we're a long ways away from that. But if somebody's doing this as a hobby, as like a little side hustle, and would like to help me up my game at this stuff, I'd sure appreciate somebody reaching out to me. You can email me at fabthatinc@gmail.com. If I knew how to put a link on this, I would, but I don't know how to do that. And shoot me an email or message me on here if you see this, and I'd sure maybe we can do some business together. All right, guys, so here's where we left off last week. I got this. This is how I'd intended to build it. Do this, and put metal on here, metal on the sides, make doors for it, things like that. This is exactly what I was intending to do. Okay. After sleeping on it a few days, thinking about this, and I had this thought when I was out here the other day. And I'm going to say there's a door in here. I was going to make the doors swing out. Well, this is 8 feet long, so you're talking about a 4-foot door. So if you put a brace down the middle here, wherever that falls, and then 4-foot door swinging out, that's going to be pretty inconvenient. So 2 things. I'm going to make the door raise up and lay back onto this with the old counterweights that used to be on it. I still have them. And I think I'm going to be banging my head on this. I think I'm going to be banging my head on this a lot. So I'm going to cut this back off and cut this back off and cut this back off. And let's see, I'll explain this better. Cut this off back here because I don't have it fully welded. I just got it welded to this piece. I don't have it like welded all this welded up yet. Cut it here, cut it back here, angle this up, make this come up to where when I go into this thing with my head, I gotta figure out what that is. And that it's not going to be hitting me in the damn head. I have enough brain damage as it is. And this is a thing I'm going to be using this every single day, day in, day out, for the next, who knows how long. And I don't need to be banging my head on this now. Actually, I've given this some thought over the last few days, and that's just what I have to do. So I'm going to extend this piece up. I'm going to extend this piece up probably 6 or 8 inches, whatever it needs to be, and then I'll figure out whatever that angle is and add to this piece, or maybe just cut a new piece here. But yeah, I got to figure out what this is going to need, what I'm going to need to not be doing this. So whatever that is what it's going to be. That's going to make the door taller. I don't know. Maybe it's a bad design. I don't know. I've got to figure this out. That's kind of one of the reasons I kind of stopped on it, is I saw that this wasn't going to function properly for what I need. I mean, it'll function. I mean, this would function just like it is. If I was to continue doing just what I was going to do, this is going to function fine. But then I've got to duck down to reach back in here, because this is 42 or 48 inches wide. It's gonna take a minute. You gotta reach back in there to get stuff. I don't wanna have to be hunched over all the time. But maybe I can just extend the whole thing up. You know, maybe I just, instead of angling this and making it look funny, why don't I just come up with it? Put this on, you know, bring a piece off of this out and continue with it like this, just as a square. But let me figure that out. And I have 1 or 2 little errands to run today, so I won't have it all the day in here, but most of the day I should be able to be in here. I got to get this figured out because I can't really do anything else. I could work on the fire door. I could work on the firebox door without fucking with this, and I could work on this collector stack deal. I could work on it without messing with this. So I may do those 2 things till I get this nailed down in my head, what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it. I'll check back with you here in a minute. I went with that. So I just cut this piece out. Actually added a piece down here. Added this section in here. Thing down here, I added a piece in from here to here. And then I added a piece in down here on the end. But let's see. There's this deal. Let's see here. Here, dead fucking nuts level. So, I say that wasn't really what I was hoping to do or what I wanted to do, but that's where we're at. And so this is all going to get, you know, if I was going to leave this, I'd weld those up, or not weld those up, but put a little plug in those and a plug in these. But I'm going to put a piece of sheet metal on this. And that's why I didn't worry about fitting this down here in here perfect, because I'm going to have a piece of metal that's going to sit right on top of all this, and a piece of metal that's going to sit right here. So all this is going to get, and it's welded up good, but it's all going to get covered up. So it's like, and this is, like I say, this channel's not going to be me building smokers. I might build a few smokers. I'm planning on, I've got 2 or 3 smokers down the line, but that's not what this channel's going to be. I am going to do some smokers. I'm also going to do a lot of air ride and sheet metal stuff like that. But this, listen, I haven't done this in a long time, and my skill level is a 2. I feel like I don't know what I'm doing in here, and I'm trying. Like I say, I had to rethink this thing, but you know, I'm trying to do these things like this that don't really have to be pretty, don't really have to be perfect. They don't really have to be. And if I get them perfect, that's great. But if I muck up a little bit like this, I can go back and fix it. I can go back and change it, and I can go back and do some things. And when you're on a real crucial piece, like something that you're working on that's real precise and stuff like that, you might work 2 days on something, and then you have to throw it in the garbage and start over because you can't, you know, it's not fixable or whatever. So stuff like this is what I'm going to start off with, and just keep going at it. All right, guys. So here's where we left off yesterday. So I got the collector deal tacked in place. So I'm going to show you this thing. This is the very first smoker I ever built. Now, is it technically? Well, I guess it's technically a smoker, but I guess it really ain't. It's originally a. It's originally a like 100-pound propane tank, but it's goofy, and I apologize. Like I say, it's the first time I ever built anything like this. So basically, what it is, this down here is a firebox. You build a fire in down there, and you can see how long it's sit. It's just sit outside rusting. And as I have told you guys, I use a bunch of old junk all the time. So these are just some old bent up C-clamps that were either broke or not any, you know, you couldn't use them for anything anymore. They were busted up. So I just stuck them on here, used them as the door things. Like I said, so you build a fire down there, and this one here opens too, but it is froze tight. So we're gonna cut these off. But I just had these little things made in here. Set your food on. This is what I started smoking on and cooking meat on. God dang. I can't even remember, 15, probably 15 years ago. Probably longer than that, actually. But that's just the first one I ever built. As you can see, it's got this little, it's exhaust pipe. Probably 2.5 inch exhaust pipe. It's got a little deal up there you control with this. But same thing as my big smokers, you know. But that's how I did it, you know. These are the hinges. See, I hand cut all that stuff, bolted them all up. This is the vent. This is the how you control the air going in, all that deal. So what I'm going to do with this now is it is pretty cool looking. I mean, to me, old buddy of mine used to say it looked like some character on a cartoon. I can't remember what character it was, but so I'm going to put the flue. You know, the flue's got to come up here some way, and I was going to use this, which is what we cut that piece off that other end. But I was going to use this big old thick boy here. But the more I thought about it, this tank that I'm using here, is not super thick. See, it's on, I mean, I ain't measured to see what gauge it is, but it's not, you know, big thick gauge stuff. So that pipe out there is 3 times thicker than what the tank's made out of. And there's no need to use that thing. So I was sitting here contemplating one night, what else can I use? Let's put this thing on, because this is the first smoker I ever built. That's the second smoker I ever built. Why not put this on there and use this part here as the flue? It's a little shorter than I wanted it to be, but it's you know, the size around the width is the size that I was going to use, the same size as that one over there. I think it may be a 1/2 inch difference in OD on them, but that ain't going to matter. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to weld these doors back up, weld them all shut, cut the top of this off right above that weld, and cut that bottom foot off of that thing. And I'm going to use this as the stack for this smoker. And like I say, this old smoker right here, and whatever configuration it's going to be in, is going to be with me for the duration. Whether it's a piece of art, a sign, or whatever it ends up being later on in its life when I've moved on to bigger and better smokers, if I ever do later on down the road one of these days, this one's always going to be here. So why not combine that first smoker and the second smoker, and we'll have a story to tell, you know what I mean? So let's do this. Let's get this thing cut up. I'm going to leave the handle. So what I did with this thing, so I just put sheet metal around this to be the, you know, where it closes tight. So I'm either going to just weld this back together on the sheet metal, or take the sheet metal off and just weld that door area back on there. But I think it'll be a little more time sensitive, better on my time to just clamp that door back closed, weld her up. I know it's you know, it's going to take me some time to get it welded up, and it's time I don't really need to spend on anything else but getting that smoker back together. But I think this is the way to go. And it gets this out of my way, because I've moved this thing around 1,000 times. It gets this out of my way. I don't ever use it anymore. I haven't put a fire in this thing in, I want to say, 5 or 6 years. And I only did it that time just as a novelty to see if it was kept right now, because at that point I kind of knew what I was doing with these offset smokers. And I was just going to see if this made any sense to have it cooked, and if I could control it any better, and since I knew what I was doing now, and it still doesn't cut good. So, but it's what got me started. It's a piece of my history. It's a piece of, Thatcher Barbecue Company. And I'm going to use it on this smoker. And we may extend it up with another piece of junk that I got laying around here. We'll see how tall it is once I actually get it up there. I was hoping for a 4-foot stack off of this. I was hoping to go up 4 feet. This is, depending on where I cut this at, it's pretty close to that. But I got to cut this. I got to cut this foot off down here too, technically. Or not technically. I could cut the bottom of it out. Let me think about this. See, that's the part about fabrication. And sometimes, like, I never even thought about that. I could leave that ring on there, just cut the bottom of the tank out, leave that ring on there, and weld that ring to that. I could do that. Let me think about this, and we'll see what I come up with. All right, guys, I got this cut out, and it's got some rust holes in it. This is kind of because this is like a factory surface. I started to cut it right here. I probably should have. I don't know. This might be more work than it needs to be to keep this ring on here. So I have to weld that up. Rust hole there. Yeah, I say we just back up and punt. We just cut this whole ring off. Be done with it. Sometimes you waste oxyacetylene. Sometimes you waste time. That's part of fabricating. Part of doing this shit. You didn't even see them rust holes in it because it got a little heat in it. They just kind of popped out. So, I don't know. What y'all think? Does that give it character, or is that? I don't know. Let me figure it out. All right, so I did a little test cut, and to get this whole ring out of here, I'm gonna have to go around and re-weld all this here up because it's only welded in spots. It's not welded all the way around this bottom ring. So if I've got to go around and weld all that back up and then weld this to the top, I'm gonna call that as too much work to make this little ring work. Plus I'd have to go ahead and fix all the holes and rust and everything in it. So I'm just gonna go ahead and cut this off right here. Cut a good straight line around through. I'll use this as the guide for it, and I'll just cut her off. We'll just do it like that. I tell you what, at the risk of probably making this thing look like the Beverly Hillbillies going down the road, or Jade Clampett, whatever, I don't even want to show you this. I ain't got it put together. This is just sitting here, and this is kind of what I was thinking for the extension on this pipe. That tank was about 3 feet, and it wasn't 3.5 feet, but it was just a little over 3 feet. I don't remember exactly what it was. So I said, well, I've got these old, I've got a couple old, like, the old portable air tank that you can fill up with a chuck, and then you can pack the tank out to your car tire and fill it up. Well, I've got a couple of those that have laying around the shop here forever. They ain't got no valves in them or anything like that, but fucking thing. So actually, it's just sitting up there. I ain't cut them. I haven't cut it yet. But that's what I'm thinking about doing for the stack for this thing. So, I know it's fucking silly. I know it. After I set it up there, I'm like, this is some real fucking Jade Clampett shit. But, you know what? Fuck it. That's what this shit's about. This is kind of a turning into, I need this thing back at the restaurant, like, right now. Like, I really do. Like, I need to get this thing done. That's what I've always done with this thing, is I've always just thrown it together to make it function for what I need it for. And I think I'm going to take another weekend. I think I'm going to make this. I think this is, I was really kind of hesitant about it at first because it's kind of silly, and it's going to look like, literally like the Jade Clampett, Beverly Hillbillies going down the road. But I'm going to cut that tank down to where it fits as wide as it can fit down on this tank, and then I'll cut that tank out to make that the widest part of that tank fit, and then we'll open the whole top of that one up. Then I'll make a big version of this. And what I might do, I might even use this handle and use that little thing right there, and we'll just make a big piece to sit on top of that. And we'll just recycle this fucking thing too. And I've also got, this is the original one off that smoker. This is the original one off that smoker. Same setup. I mean, it's just a bigger version of that thing, So we might figure out between the two of them, and we'll make a cap for this thing. But I think this is where I'm gonna go. I've got to spend some time, like I said, it's just sitting up there. I got to spend some time welding those doors back up, cutting those tanks out, fitting them together, all that stuff. Oh God. Is it fucking silly? Yeah. Is it taking up more time than it needs to? Yeah. Does this get let me see how many things this gets out of my way. It gets this smoker out of my way that was in my way that I didn't ever use. It gets that thing out of my way, which I never used. And it gets that thing out of my way, which I never used. I never put another valve in that. I'll never fix that. If I need a tank, I'll go buy a fucking tank. They're not very expensive. But the valve went bad on, took the valve out, throwed it over in a scrap pile, and there it's laid all these years. These pieces here, these blue pieces that I made this collector out of, was the firebox part that we cut off of this thing. So the only piece of new metal that I've used on this whole deal, well, I ain't say new that I didn't go out and buy it. I didn't go out and buy none of this. This is all already here in the shop. The only like new kind of thing I could think of would be this. But like I say, it was already here. Probably been here 5, 6, 8 years. I don't even remember why I even bought it. Don't even remember what it was even for. The only thing I can think that it might have been for was the wife had asked me to make a vent for over our gas stove. She asked me to make a vent cover for it, and I think I bought that to make that vent cover, and then she ended up having her brother make her one out of wood instead of making one out of metal, which I think looks better in the house. But I think that's why I bought that. I can't recall, but here we go. Let's get into it. Let's do this. And then all we got left to do is sheet this, make doors, and make a firebox door. And I still gotta fix that dent right there. And I gotta fix the springs. Still a lot on the list. Shit, and I gotta weld up those doors too. This is what this thing is. It's welding up old doors because you use old junk. So, all right. I'm gonna get back after it here. I'm gonna mark where I think this tank's gonna be. Then I'm gonna take it all down. I'm gonna take this piece of soapstone and mark around the bottom of this tank right here on that collector, and then I'm going to cut that out with a plasma cutter, fit that tank down in there where it needs to be, and I'll finish all of it out on the ground, and then I'll weld that sucker up and put her up there. So that's what we're gonna do. Should I leave the handle on it so everybody knows what it is? I think it's even got feet on the other side. Let's see. Yeah, it's got the feet on the other side. So yeah. All right, cool. I'm gonna get after this. Thank y'all for watching. and bearing with me while I do this silly shit. Yeah, let's do it. So don't be too hard on me. I haven't, like I said, the whole point of all this is to get back into doing this shit. And I haven't welded anything to mount to anything in a long time. But I'm not proud of these welds. But everybody, you got to show them, or everybody's gonna call you bullshit. But you know, I got a couple of little porosity right there. I had a gap right here I had to fill, so I'm gonna go back in and work on that a little bit. A little gap right here too, but I'm gonna fix all that. But I got in here and welded this up. I mean, are they perfect? No. Is this smoker perfect? No. Should you shoot to try to be perfect? Yep, you should. And I'm doing, this is the whole point of all this, is to get my skill set back up to where I think it's worthy. And I ain't there yet, but that's the whole point of this projects like this, is I can practice on these. If I fuck them up, you know, I'm just cooking on them. It ain't like it's going to a car show or to some contest or where somebody's judging it or something. But if you judge it, judge it. If you don't like what I'm doing, you know, there's the you know, dislike button, and there's also don't follow me, because this is what I'm doing. I'm trying to get myself back into this. And I was hesitant to even like come up here and talk about the welds. They're not perfect. They're not bad. I mean, like I say, that right there's got a little, I think it's where I sprayed that stuff on here. That was like the first spot I welded once I sprayed that anti-splatter stuff on here. But they're not too bad. You can see where I stopped. I stopped a lot. You can see I stopped there, stopped, and it was also some of them went over top of the tack welds, you know. So it is what it is. But it'll be. I'll show you what it looks like when I get done with it, and after I get it finished out and everything like that. But I wanted to go ahead and finish this part right here. If nothing else, I went ahead and did the bottom because that's the part I was dreading. I hadn't done overhead welds in a long time. Turned out pretty decent for overhead weld with two different sizes of material. Is what it is. But I want to do this because once I get that tank up here, or that stack up here, I'm not going to be able to get in there really good to make a good weld in there. But that's good enough for me, and or good enough for this, what I'm doing. And we'll get over here and figure out and get this thing welded up and start working on that. And to carry on with an unboxing, I'll give you a little update on an unboxing that I did a little while back on these grinding discs and all that stuff. Let me get this one off of here. An easy arc, however you say it. These are no better than any of the other ones I bought. Here's one from Hercules. I think these are the ones you get from Harbor Freight. I mean, literally, this one's been on there maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes. This one was actually this one's one of them big old thick boys. This one actually lasted pretty good, but I would have expected it to last a lot longer. But there again, I've used all of them from, these are the ones I think you get from Tractor Supply. These flat discs, I mean, I guess there just are no good ones. Like these they just don't last. All I'm doing is knocking off a little bit of weld, not even weld, knocking off a little bit of slag from a cutting torch and a little bit of, you know, slag or dross or whatever they call it, from a plasma cutter, and knocking back a little bit of paint. It ain't like I'm, you know, cutting with them or anything like this. That's the flat discs. Now, this thing right here, it's the Easy Arc, same brand as that. And I did an unboxing of these when I got them. It's a 4.5 inch. This thing right here is a masterpiece. Whoever, you know, Easy Arc, good job. Go buy these things. I've used this one blade right here on this whole project that I'm working on right here. I've cut all the tubing with it. I've cut all kinds of shit with this thing. And I mean, it just cuts it like butter. Now, will it last, you know, through this whole project? I don't know. But I'm gonna go buy a shit ton of these because I like these. I think they come in 5 in a box, and I think that's what I bought was 5. But I will highly recommend these things. I wish I had the part number in front of me because it got wore off. But it is, these are a dandy. So go buy these from that company, Easy Arc. They're excellent. These things right here are excellent. Don't wait. I mean, these are cheap. I mean, I think if you buy a box of 20, I think they're $2 or $2.50 a piece. So they're cheap, which is a good thing. But for the price, I mean, I guess they're fine, you know, but they don't last any better than anything else. And so I guess if you can get them for $2 a piece, I ain't saying don't buy those. I'm just saying, you know, the ones you get from Tractor Supply and from Harbor Freight are just as good. There's nothing superior about these. But other than you can buy a box of 20 of them off their website for, you know, I think they're $2 or $2.50 a piece, which is cheap. So, but anyways, go buy you some of these. So here's what you got to figure out if something's worth the time or not. So all I've got to do, technically, is set that piece of pipe I've got over there up on this thing and weld it, and then make a cap for it. So this thing, so everything from, what's that going to take me? 15 minutes to set that piece of pipe. It's already cut. All I got to do is knock the paint off of it, set it up there, weld it up, done. So I have to come in here and weld this up all the way down. I've got to weld all the way down, and I got to weld each one of these back together. So is this worth the time? No, it's not worth the time. As I'm sitting here doing this, I'm thinking I could already be on another thing, another project, another part of this thing that I need to get done. But I'm here fucking with this thing. So that's the stuff you got to think about when you're doing this shit. Is what I'm doing right here worth it? If you're doing it for money, you would not do this. If you're doing it for art, you probably still would not do this. If you're doing it for something sentimental, like this whole thing here, maybe that's why I'm doing it. For sentimental reasons. Now I think this is stupid, me wasting this much time doing this, but I'm this far in it. I think it's going to be something unique and something kind of, like say, it's a art side of things, and my art is cooking, and that's what I like to tell a lot of musicians, when they come in and they eat the food that I cook for them and stuff like that. And they're like, oh man, you gotta tell me how great it is, and like, well, this is my art. I can't write songs and play music, and which I do play a little music, but what I'm saying is I don't create music. I play other people's music, but I can create that brisket, or I can create that rack of ribs out of something that I built myself and learned on my own how to do it. And you know, this is just another part of it. So this is my art as well. It always has felt that way to me when I was doing it for money years ago. I always felt like it was an art to do this kind of shit. But this is a time suck. This is going to take me probably, that front side took me probably 30 minutes. This side's going to take me another 30 minutes. And I'm probably going to be 15 or 20 minutes on each side. So I'm 2 hours into doing this, which I could have been making the doors. I could have been putting the sheeting on this thing. Could have been making the firebox door. You know, so that's the shit you got to think about. So let me get back after this thing, get this thing done. I'll show you what it looks like. You don't want to sit and watch me weld this all up. And I'll show you what it looks like when it's sitting up there on the top. Folks, well, here we are. Yeah, let's see. There we are. What do you think? I know it's goofy. I know it's weird. I know it's not normal. But there it is. Like I said earlier, this does 3 things. It gets that piece of junk out of my way this way. That piece of junk out of my way. It gets this thing off the floor and I don't have to ever move it again. That's a little piece of trash right there. This way, right there. Little air tank. There's another one laying on the floor over there. But yeah, I got this thing welded up. I got the doors welded up on it. I got the back side of the tank welded up. I got that up there, 3 or 4 good little beads on it. Let's see if we can't rig us up a top for it real quick, and then once I get that done, we will probably call it for the night. Big storms coming in tonight, and a bunch of high winds, hail, all kinds of crazy shit they're saying. So I got to get some stuff put up, put in here in the shop in a safe space, and hopefully a safe space. Hopefully don't have a tornado or something like that. But anyways, yeah, let me get this top piece done, see what I can get figured out for it. I've got a couple options here. Let's see. This is the piece that I cut out of for the collector right there. This is that piece. I can maybe do something with this. Also have, this is the piece that came off the top of that up there. Maybe we could use this somehow. I don't know yet. I'm gonna figure it out, and I'll get right back with you. All right, guys. So this is the old handle off this smoker originally, and that little plate right there used to be the cap for the top of the other smoker, of this smoker originally. See this old bolt where the thing used to be for this, needs to come off so it'll open up all the way the other way. It don't really have to open up all the way that way technically, but it opens up all the way, closes off. That right there is probably a good setting for it anyways when you're running. So I might just leave it right where it is. If I need to close it, need to open it all the way up, I can come back over here with this way with it. So, and with that said, I put the little dome from the tank on top of that plate. So there's that. One less thing going in the scrap pile. But all right, guys, I'm gonna get off here. This will shut this down for the night. Tonight's Wednesday night. Gotta go down and cook tonight. When I come back in next week, I'll finish all the welds on this, weld that little deal up, finish all these welds up, start on making, sheeting all this stuff and making the doors. And I got one more little thing to weld right there. I got to weld around that top there, and I've got to put the door on. I ain't got it made yet. I got a buddy that I'm going to try to see if he can CNC cut me a door for this thing, that's because I'm not very precise, and make it look real super slick, but he can make me something that'll fit in there perfect. I just got to give him the measurements for it. So I'm gonna get off here, get the measurements for that, get it drawn up for my buddy, see if he can make it to me and get it to me by next weekend if possible. If not, we'll work on it the next time. But I'm hoping if I can get the parts for that, I've got to get this thing back in production. So I got to, here again, something I forgot. I've got to finish putting so I cut all the old rack holders in here out, because they were never great anyways. So I just cut them all out and so make new ones. So I've got some angle iron over there that I'm going to lay down one side, angle iron down this side, angle iron down that side, and down here, and then I'll put angle in the middle, and I'll make racks that all the racks will sit in, so I can get them out easy. So this is 8 feet long, so I can do it in 4 foot or 2 foot pieces, so it'd be easy for me to handle, not breaking my back. That's what I like, not breaking my back. So, all right, guys, catch you on the next video. I'm not sure if this will be the end of this one or not. I'm trying not to make them too long. But if it is the end of this one and I don't start on that till the next one, I'm gonna see how long it's gonna be, and then we'll decide. But if this is the last one, hope you have a good day, good week, good month, good year, good life. Thank y'all for watching.